Evening and welcome to the Select Board meeting on February 20th, 2024 at 6 o'clock. I'd like to call this meeting to order and a roll call, please.
Teresa A. Moss, present.
O'Shea, present.
Chaz Sexton Duranian, present. Could you join me in the Pledge of Allegiance?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. I want to thank all those in service, past and present, and all of our first responders. We appreciate everything you do for our communities. 1.3, the meeting is going to be recorded and uploaded to YouTube. We are being live on Channel 9 tonight. 1.4, Chairman's additions and deletions. We are going to delete 2.2. We had requested some documents. We didn't hear anything. So I'm going to move that to the 3.5 agenda. We are also going to be deleting 3.1. The flag committee needs to hold a meeting to hold a vote in regards to that issue. So we're going to be moving that to 3.5 to 3.5 meeting as well. Anything from you, Teresa?
No, I have nothing.
Joe?
No, I don't know if there's the appropriate announcements here. I could just and talk about the,
I think the
We
announcements
can
would
do
be
that in
5.3.
announcements.
oh, 5.3, all right.
Yeah, we can do it on that.
Okay.
Yes, it's important, but yes, we'll do it during the
All right.
regular announcements. And that's all I have. 1.5. So we have meeting minutes for 2/6. We'll put the motion on the floor to approve the meeting minutes for 2/6/2024.
So moved.
Second.
And do we have any discussion on that?
Yeah, I'd like to make a change.
Sure.
Under, where it says 2.3, with a joint meeting with Capital Planning Committee.
Yep.
Halfway down through the article, it starts Highway 1, proposed new plow sander dump truck. And then it should say bond for plow sander dump truck was recommended instead, but it says bond for facilities.
So we're striking facilities.
Right.
And then we're adding what?
Bond for plower, I think they call it plower sander dump truck combination.
Anything else?
That was it, so.
All right, so I guess we would use an amended motion to approve the meeting minutes for February 6th, 2024 with the said change.
So moved.
Second.
Any further discussion on that? All those in favor?
Teresa A. Moss, yeah.
Joseph Shank, yes.
Chaz Sexton Duranian, yes. All right, and I'll give those to Sabrina to do, to make that change. Okay. 2.1. We are in a joint meeting with the Bylaw Review Committee to discuss warrant article and submission. So, Bylaw Review Committee, would you like to open your meeting?
Sure. Let's see here. Let me do this. Is there a motion to open the meeting of the Bylaw Review Committee?
I'll make a
I
motion.
I'll second it.
Okay.
Veronica Cal?
Polling the members. Veronica,
Yes.
Beth,
Robert Darian, yes.
Natalie Cole, yes.
Greg Smith, yes.
Michael Brown, yes.
Bill Cadigan, yes.
Alrighty, so do you guys have, are you gonna do a presentation? How do you wanna run this?
I have some documents that were submitted from the.
Oh, that's what you were
Bylaw Review
printing.
Committee. They were up on it just now to the SharePoint, so.
Yeah, basically, we have some documentation. We've come up with a few,
Is it same as on the SharePoint?
Yeah. Just
bylaw
because
text.
let's just upload it so you have a paper copy.
Um,
Would anyone like to screen share?
um, yeah, that'd be good, actually, if you could do that for me.
Okay. Okay, Bill, go ahead.
What do I have to do? Just hit the share screen button?
Yeah, hit the share screen button and then choose the document from your open screens.
Can you see it?
Not yet.
All right.
Oh.
Yeah, is that one? Okay.
Okay. Is that better?
Yep.
There you go.
Yeah.
All right. So let me see here. I'm still learning how to use this new computer with Windows 11 on it. So basically, I wrote up one was done for us by the Council on Aging. So I call it XX1, and it's a simple modification of the existing general bylaw, right, for the council. Yeah. So it says 4 years, but it really meant 3 years. So that's pretty simple. So
The
anybody
only
have
change
any
on that
questions?
is to 3 years.
Yeah.
Okay.
Then I'm going to go through these. I'll go through these other articles, and then we'll discuss the text later. But so we've got this. At the moment, we have 2 outdoor lighting bylaws. One is a general bylaw, and one is a zoning bylaw. So the plan is to establish a new general bylaw. God. And basically replace the existing general bylaw and delete the existing zoning bylaw. So I think we probably need more articles. I've just outlined it as one article, but we can probably do the general bylaw addition and deletion in one article, and then we'll need a separate article for the zoning bylaw because that takes a 2/3 vote.
Yeah, it also has to go to the planning board first.
And the third item is to see if the town will vote to establish a general bylaw with regard to noise per the following text, and we'll get into the text. I'll have to open different files so you can see what that's about. So we have some, I would say, well-known noise problems, and so we felt that it would be a good idea to have a general bylaw with regard to noise. That's been done by Pepperell. We used their bylaw as a template, and the tricky part is, of course, in any of these bylaws, is how do we enforce them? So what the towns have been doing is using the Board of Health to enforce the noise bylaws. So I spoke to Rick Metcalf about that, and he said, "Oh yeah, we're doing that." He says, "I'm not doing it at the moment, but in his towns, but there are some towns that Neshoba is they borrow a meter from somebody in Worcester, and so they can actually measure noise levels at property lines and use that to enforce the bylaw." So the Board of Health wanted to know more about the language of enforcement, and what we've done so far is we've submitted these bylaws to Adam for legal review, and I guess we're going to get together on the 27th. I think that's his next office hours, and we'll go over them, and so we probably will be modifying text based on Adam's feedback. I would say there's a high probability of that. So the next one is some actually house cleaning for the accessory apartment bylaw, and I'll be able to show you what we had in there. There's a few anomalies. When the current bylaw replaced the old bylaw, we ended up with a couple of unforeseen circumstances, so we're just trying to clean those up. So far, we've been able to hum up a few bars and make it on the zoning board, but I would like to have the bylaw a little more bomb-proof than it is now. And then we're working. I don't know what's going to happen with the committee, which I believe is only scheduled to run till the May town meeting, the bylaw review committee. But we got a quote from an outfit in New Hampshire that can offer us a review of the entire bylaw for seemed like a pretty reasonable fee. I can't remember what the number was. So we wanted to put an article there to see if we can fund that and take it from there based on what town meeting says.
We don't have an idea what the price is?
Does anybody remember?
20,000.
That was for the comprehensive review, I think. Yeah.
In terms of what? I'm sorry.
So 14, Veronica, did you say 20?
I think it's 20. It might be 14.
All right.
It's in that range, though. 20 is the max, I think, that it was.
Yeah, I just checked it. It was 14.5 for the comprehensive review, and then 9,500 for just the legal review.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
So would you be looking to extend the committee past the May date that you guys are willing to work on with the consultant, if that's the way that town goes?
Yeah, I'd say we were thinking that,
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what we're thinking about, but we obviously have to get the planning board involved in some of these bylaws because they're going to have a fit if we don't. So we need to work out some sort of agreement with them about who's going to do what and how we're actually going to get it done.
So how does the consultant fit in, Phil?
Say again?
How does the consultant fit in? Do they do a review and give recommendations, and then you would bring in like the other board, the planning board, for instance, or do you guys all work together with the consultant?
I think ideally if we work together, it'll go quicker because
Yeah.
otherwise you're going to have basically two people trying to do similar jobs. And that will, that will take longer than if we're all working together on it.
I think what makes logical sense would be to have the consultant work on the bylaw, segregate out the zoning portions and the non-zoning portions, and then the zoning portions would be presented to, say, a joint meeting of the bylaw committee and the planning board. That way it's all in front of everybody at the same time. The planning board's the only one that can act on it. The bylaw committee can give recommendations, but the planning board would have to.
But would the
act.
committee be able to get this done by the meeting? I don't think we
No.
could, right?
Well, I think
No.
the idea would be we'd go
It's
past.
Pass, okay,
That's
perfect, yeah. All right,
The vendor is talking, what was it, 18 months or something to get a complete review done.
well, to do it right, I think it's
Yeah.
the one time you should do it
Right, you
right.
shouldn't rush it.
No,
Yeah, I
no.
agree there.
Because, there are a lot of things that you guys have all been working on that we've been beating on town floor for many years. We can get them cleaned up and done, that's what we need to do.
So Eric, how logistically, how do you want to look at this?
Sabrina.
Would you like me to print quotes, like print it out right now?
I don't think we need that at this point, because that would just be for the town meeting warrant article.
Correct.
So I think, Veronica had something to say?
Yeah, I do. Before we go into, I wanted, this is kind of for Bill. Are we going to put an article on to update the enforcement section in the, the non-criminal, it's Article 2, I think, in the general bylaws, the enforcement section? I believe there are updates that need to be done on that. If we're adding a noise bylaw, are those updates going to be done in the warrant article for each of these, or are we going to do it as a single piece? There are enforcement, the enforcement section needs to be looked at. And there will need to be something on the town meeting warrant for that. That's number one. Also, I was wondering, aren't we adding a general catch-all to that enforcement section? Bill, you're the one that met with Adam. I didn't, so I don't know where your discussion was on that.
Well, it was brief, Ronnie, and the basic, it's going to take more time with Adam to work out this enforcement thing.
So if we're looking, if the selectmen are looking at what is on the warrant for town meeting, we might need an XX6 for the enforcement section.
I think that's probably a good idea, because I think we can wrap it up by then.
Yeah, Adam
Okay.
I was in that meeting, Ronnie, and he did seem to think that he should at least have a catch-all phrase to put on the warrant for the meeting. So you would need at least that catch-all for.
Okay, so we need an XX6, and then the XX7 is one that the updates to the Housing Authority bylaw, Chapter 140, that was approved at town meeting and by the AG's office last May, that is not in our general code anywhere that I can find right now. But in any event, Adam had said that there needed to be, it's just language as far as the terms of the trustees go. And so I've requested to meet with Adam next week when he's in, and that would be an XX6.
7.
Or 7, yeah, XX7.
Okay.
So it would be good to have a placeholder for those, yes.
Yes, I
That's-
think I'm sorry.
What was
That's
the title?
just,
What was the title you wanted for 7, Ronnie?
I would put TAHT bylaw wording correction or whatever.
Autocorrect doesn't like that one.
That's pretty annoying.
Every time I tried it in the budget, it
Yeah.
always changes.
I've never had to go after capitals before. That's fun. Okay.
It winds up being kind of like the one for the COA,
Yeah,
for the council, you know, where you just make a change to the wording.
Yeah. Yep.
So if we're gonna bring this to the town floor, and we got the work you guys have done, but we're considering hiring a consultant, wouldn't it be better just to get the money to hire the consultant and then make all these changes, or try to start making changes and then re-change?
Yeah.
See what I'm saying?
Makes no
If
sense.
we can get, if we can get on the floor, an article on the floor to say, okay, we need $14,500 because we need to do this review. It really needs, and we can kind of list some of the reasons why, and then say, this is how we move forward. If we put all these out there and we vote on them, some get turned down, some don't, and then we still get the money to hire the consultant, they're gonna redo all this all over again. So,
well, we've got two things going here, Joe. We have, number one is our charter has the bylaw review committee to do the review, and they're
Yeah.
doing, this is what they're doing now, is doing the review. So that's one issue. The second issue, and this is what I was asking Eric about, is extending the bylaw review committee. So we would need a vote, or, and my question to you, Eric, is do we have to have a town vote? The selectmen can vote to extend them for, we can say 18 months or 2 years, their term for
extend
2
them
year.
through 2 years.
Right, and then they in turn can, once we extend that, they can put on the consultant on the warrant article for the
and then
consultant.
not do all the individuals, just do the big.
Well,
Well, is that
that would be
separate?
something that they would need to flush out, because, and this is just my thoughts, but you guys are the experts on this. But there are a couple of things in here that probably need immediate attention, that probably would need to go on this town meeting.
Okay.
All right, on a couple of these things, some changing of the whole article or whatever, I mean, they need to be strategic about it, and I'd rather let them
Yeah.
figure that out, what could go on this immediate town meeting, and then what we can say for the fall, let's say, for the fall town meeting.
Or for what the consultants have.
All the
Exactly.
consultants.
Yeah,
I'm just gonna bring up some topics for you to entertain here. So in a couple of topics tonight was the accessory use provision. And on the planning board, we've seen problems coming from a couple of citizens with the application of that to get a special permit.
well, I don't want to get into the nitty gritty of the bylaws. This is not what I want to really get into right
Well,
now.
the point I'm making is, I think it needs further attention.
That's exactly where I'm going with this, all right?
Thank
So
you.
you guys make the decision on what needs further attention and what we can put on this next town meeting, all right?
That was my point.
Yeah, for instance, on the one with just changing the one thing on there, that can go, because that's a pretty cut and dry, changing it from 4 to 3 years. If there's other things that really need some more attention and you want to put it in the eyes of the consultant, I think that's probably something that you need to hold off on.
Okay.
Does that make sense? Veronica, Bill?
Well, I think, I appreciate your hold off concept, but I'm also kind of curious about where a town meeting is at with regard to this stuff. And I think that would tell us a whole lot. Even if we don't get everything that we want, it certainly would be taking the temperature of the town meeting as far as how willing they are to change these bylaws.
So when you're saying where you're at, you mean what's on what's on the articles for the town meeting?
Yeah, with regard to bylaws, because we've got it's kind of an interesting mix. I mean, this 3 years for the Council on Aging. I think that's kind of a no-brainer. I can't imagine anybody voting against that one. But the lighting bylaw, you know, some people don't like the lighting bylaw, so I don't know if deleting the zoning bylaw and transferring the whole thing to a general bylaw is a concept that's going to work. The good news about general bylaw is it's only a 50% or majority vote instead of a 2/3 vote. And if you see this noise bylaw that Pepperell adopted, I mean, they packaged it as a general bylaw as well, and I don't have the results of the town meeting, but it passed. You know, they didn't have any problem getting that through. So,
Right, and you're talking about you need to make provisions on the enforcement. You need those kinds of things, and those are the things that need to be worked out before town meeting, I would assume.
But I think he's also saying if we put the things that they've worked on and they've worked, you know, they did this work and they put them, even though they're having them looked at, whatever happens, whether they get yay or nay, that will give the committee that we're hiring after the meeting the sense of, oh, well, the town goes this way. They had no problem with this bylaw, or they did have a major problem with this bylaw, and then it will help that consultant
Yeah,
move
so
forward.
That's what I'm
So,
saying. You
yeah.
guys decide
So
what you
that's
guys
what I
want to
think
put
he's
on
trying
and
to
what you
say.
don't want to put on.
I think and this, I may be speaking for the committee, but I think the committee may have already done this sort of self-vetting process before they brought it. Like, these are the things they feel like they need to move on now.
Okay.
And anything they
And that's
didn't
what we
bring to us
did.
are things that they're thinking that the consultant would look at.
I'm okay because they're the subject matter experts, so I don't have a problem with that.
And so I think, I'm sorry. I was just gonna say, I think that the Board of Selectmen could take a vote now to extend the terms of the members of the bylaw committee for an additional 2 years. Or we could put that off and it's not imminent, right? I mean, we've got a few months before they expire, so you could also decide.
Yeah, and that's what I would like to do tonight.
I mean, if we're here, everyone's here, I just, let's vote it, move it so they can continue.
So I think Robert and Veronica look at things.
Go ahead,
Well, I
Robert.
just wanted another concept here. We were talking about a consultant for the bylaw, for the bylaws. There's so many sections of the bylaw. I wonder if it may be a better idea to have a consultant to address the priority changes needed in the bylaw instead of the entire thing in one contract. It may be a more manageable, financially achievable way to do it, because there's so many elements to the zoning bylaw. It would be quite an expensive task to start from ground zero going through everything. So I might suggest that the priority issues in the bylaws that we're having the biggest trouble with, that we hire a consultant on an RFP basis per hour or whatever to deal with the specific things we're doing. The bylaw committee and the planning board does not have the resources to go through the entire zoning bylaw. So what we're doing is trying to address the things that are major concerns that come like from the building department or other departments, and try to at least get those working better. So that's a suggestion regarding the consulting part of this. Instead of getting locked into a fixed contract for the whole thing, because I think there's a risk that if we hired a person to do that, and then our boards can't keep up with their goal to finish it all in a year or whatever, it's not gonna work.
Well, I think that would be up to
Right.
the committee that we've appointed to
Okay.
take and come with the priorities.
Right.
You know, we, the board, are not here to say what should be a priority or not. We're only here to approve or help you. And I think the committee has to come and make that decision, okay? Instead of doing the general, when you all have your meetings,
Right.
say, look, I think we have, whatever, 20 sections that are really bad. We need to look at those. Bylaw, lighting, noise, building department, zoning,
Right.
nail them down.
I will say that doing a consultant piecemeal is going to be more expensive.
Mhm.
Like if you try to get somebody to do things in parts, it's going to be way more expensive than just having some one person look at the
And I
whole
have to
thing.
say that,
Just 'cause-
they did several interviews with Code General. I don't know the others. I only came in when they started doing the company that they just quoted to you. And did discuss other towns that they did this review from. They reviewed their contracts. So there was a lot of due diligence with this company, and they do feel that they're making a reasonable request for the money, and they do feel, satisfied they're gonna get. If you look through the quote that we have, it's good for a few more months.
Well,
They feel
and
quite
that's,
happy with it.
I believe, in correct me if I'm wrong, that, from what I'm hearing is that, I think this is the smarter way to do it, working smarter, not harder. I entertain us, since we have the volunteers and people willing to work, I'm the first one to say, yes, let's get them on there and get them on record by saying, yes, they're gonna stay to help us with this. That's number one. Number two is, this is their recommendations for this particular town meeting. So I feel that we should move forward on this with what they're recommending. And they're the ones that are gonna speak to the articles when they come into town meeting, right? I would assume that you guys would speak to those. So
You betcha.
I don't have a
And the only other question they had for me at the meeting as a liaison, with the 14.5, does this have to come under a capital request?
That's something
No, I mean, it doesn't have to. We could put through we have free cash,
Okay, so that is,
special town meeting warrant articles that are over $10,000 on a regular basis, unfortunately. So,
All the
So
one
I
year.
think what we
Veronica?
Can I just say something? The bylaw
you just did.
we met with General Code, who did our bylaws, the ones that you see on the web. They're the ones that looked for it. We, the bylaw committee, did not review the entire set of bylaws. We just picked, like Bob said, the ones that the building department had issues with, or, COA or TAHT. We just did that. General Code will look at everything for consistency and whether they're up to date. And the bylaw committee did vote to go forward with a town meeting article to request the funds to do just that for the comprehensive review, which includes a legal review. I don't believe they're going to look at it to say whether or not what you want in the accessory bylaw is what the town wants. If it's already there, it's there, and they're going to assume that the town wants it. So the planning board might need to look at things that they want to change. But the general code will look at what is there and see if it's up to date, consistent, and whether it needs any updating in that sense. So, and we did vote. I don't know that Bob was at the meeting where we took the vote, but for those that were at the meeting, we did vote unanimously to go forward with the ask for the 14.5.
So,
So
Mr.
that's
Chair,
all I
I'd
have
like
to say.
I'd like to
Thank
make
you, Veronica.
a motion
You're welcome.
that we extend the volunteers on the bylaw review committee for 2 years.
so moved?
You made the motion.
Oh,
Second.
I thought he made motion, so I'm moving it. I said so moved.
I got a second.
You got a second?
Second.
Any further
I
discussion?
thought he was saying I'd like to make a motion.
All those in favor?
Teresa Amos, aye.
Joe Shank, yes.
Chess Sexton-Duranian, yes. All right, so
and I think formally we probably would say, have a motion to accept the recommendations of the bylaw review committee to be put on the spring town meeting or the annual town meeting warrant.
I'll make a motion, we accept the motion, the articles for the warrant, for the, from the bylaw committee to be put on the town warrant.
Second.
any further discussion? All those in favor?
Teresa Amos, yeah.
Joe Shank, yes.
Chess Sexton-Duranian, yes. Okay. Thank you very much for this work. I know that it's not the most.
A lot of work, and you guys are doing a great job.
Yeah, I agree.
I appreciate that.
Can I just say a few words on that contract? They're not champing at the bit to get it done. 18 months was like their minimum time. So, and they also are agreeable about partial billing, so they could, I don't know how to structure that for town meeting, but, you know, we could have a separate warrant article or something, for each year's town meeting, if that works. Like I said, I'm not clear on that.
We could try to partially fund it in the spring and then partially fund it in the fall after we have free cash certified.
We could do that, but we could do that offline, Bill, and
Yeah, okay.
work the details out on that.
Yeah, we'll figure that out as they get closer to town meeting time and we
Yeah.
see what the free cash situation is.
I have one question. When is the deadline that you need for the completed recommendation from this bylaw committee?
The articles.
We have to finalize it by,
Is there a time date?
Well, so the board, you have to have submissions to the board by March 1st, but we'll count this as a submission. It's still got to go through Adam, which we can do after March 1st. And so if Adam, once the town council has reviewed it and you submit the language that Adam's approved, we have to post the town meeting warrant. You know, I mean, I would say by April 1st, we kind of need
So
to.
we have time to work on the text.
yeah, you have a placeholder in the warrant, so these will be on the warrant. You have until April to give us exactly how you want it to appear on there.
And we've been working, some of us in meeting with Adam, and we're like, I'm the lead on the lighting bylaw, and we've gone back and forth on different details, so, but I'm sure it'll change from whatever.
Yeah.
By
it's-
March
Yeah,
1st is next week, so.
Yeah, that's why we wanted you in here now, was to
Yeah.
get the submission in by March 1st.
Right, so we can put this as a placeholder, and then we can discuss the details as we go along.
Right.
So, good, well, thank you very much. I
Thanks,
appreciate
everybody.
it.
Appreciate
Thank
it.
you.
We're gonna
adjourn.
Thank you. Adjourn your meeting.
Bylaws committee.
Veronica?
It'd be Bill. Bill, can you make a motion to adjourn?
Yeah, go ahead.
I move that we, this is Veronica, I move that we adjourn the meeting of the joint meeting of the bylaw committee with the Board of Selectmen.
A second, Paxton?
Okay, polling the members, Veronica,
Veronica Kell, yes?
Michael,
Brown, yes.
Natalie Cole, yes.
Robert Derry, yes.
Hannigan, yes. Okay,
Rex Paxton, yes.
Okay.
great. We're adjourned. Thank you. Appreciate your time.
Thank you for your time.
Thank
Appreciate your
you.
time and effort.
Good work, you guys. All right, we'll jump to 3.2. And I'll entertain a motion to appoint George Bowman as per diem van driver for the Townsend Senior Center, effective 2/20/24, with a start date of 3/20/24.
So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Jason Marshall.
Joe Shrink, yeah.
Chad Sexton Duranian, yes. That. 3.3, I entertain a motion to appoint Lori Alimo as Transportation Administrator, lead van driver for the Townsend Senior Center, effective 2/20/24, with a start date of 3/4/24.
So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Jason Marshall.
Joe Shrink, yes.
Chad Sexton Duranian. 4.1 is the second reading of the amended
Thank you.
Memorial Hall policy. So this is the same as what we had before. There wasn't any changes that we made to it, correct? Sabrina, we didn't make any changes?
Not since the first reading.
No.
All right, and if you're all in favor of not going through the whole policy and rereading it,
I'm good with that.
you good?
I'm okay.
You're good with that as well? So I'll entertain a motion to accept the policy, for use of Memorial Hall Auditorium.
So moved.
Second.
It's moved and seconded. Any further discussion?
I'm just curious, I know it talks about the number of chairs, et cetera, but did we ever get the chairs off the stage and everything? Yeah,
We haven't done anything as of yet.
Well, they would need to be done after we get this in place, right? It would
right,
need to be
because
there.
we can't expect people to do that, and you do that as part of it.
Right.
Thank you.
All those in favor?
Tuesday, March, yes?
Joe Shank, yes.
Chad Sexton Duranian, yes.
We have to sign this out after.
Yeah, we can sign it after.
Okay. You have the hard copy?
Yeah.
Perfect.
I have it in here.
All right.
But I'll put this to the side. 4.2, second reading of the revision for the meeting decorum policy, cell phone use. So the cell phone policy 01-2021 is the same except for the second paragraph, which reads, the use of cell phones, laptops, and computers should be limited to meeting business only, and all such devices should be muted, silenced while the meeting is in session. At no time should the meeting be disturbed by any device. Cell phones should never be used during a meeting unless the rest of the members have agreed to use prior to the meeting. So I'll entertain a motion to accept the revisions for policy 01-2021.
So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded, any discussion? All those in favor?
Tuesday, March, yes?
Joe Shank, yes.
Chad Sexton Duranian, yes. Thank you. 4.3, mandatory referral notice from the Zoning Board of Appeals for 3 Wheeler Road. Have you had a chance to review that?
Mm-hmm.
Teresa, have you reviewed that? The only thing that I saw really on this is just it's a special permit for earth removal. And then to add additional help me out here, Joe. You're just putting stone down, right? As part of the driveway?
Oh, yeah, just resurfacing the driveway?
Yeah.
Special permit to continue existing operation, remove the ground of approximately 109,000 yards from the property of 3 Wheeler Road. Then I read something. And it says,
There was, it was fully documented. There was a, Dillis and Roy, so I think.
yeah, so I have no issue with that.
So Tracy?
This is the question. So he talks about the date of hearing. He has to have a hearing on this,
Mm-hmm.
and that's with the Zoning Board of Appeals, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
And, okay, so they ultimately make the decision, right? We're not making any
This is just
decision
a,
yet.
this is just a
Okay.
comment period,
Comment,
basically.
yeah.
Yeah,
So
okay.
my suggestion would be
That will,
that the
Defer
select
to
board
the
trust
zoning
the
board.
zoning board of
Right.
appeals to decide on this matter, and thanks to the zoning board of appeals for all their hard work.
that would be what I was going for. Thank you.
Good?
Yeah.
Okay, if you don't mind, I'll sign it, which I already did. 4.4, review and comment on final designs of study for Townsend, Route 119 and Route 13. That was, this is the final report with Fuss and O'Neill, in regards to, I think the major changes that I saw, I didn't have any issues with. Did you guys have any issues with any of that?
Nothing that I saw, but they did mention early, and I had asked to see it, and I never did see it. They did mention that one of their earlier concepts was a rotary. And I was just curious to see that concept, but then I don't know if they just dropped it. I never got to see that.
I've never seen anything about a rotary.
Where the common is?
It was in one of the earlier documents. I'll just see if I can pull it up.
It was, the only one that I know of was a hand-drawn one that a resident did. I don't remember
Oh,
this.
okay, maybe
this
that's what
firm.
they were referring to.
They did not recommend a rotary at all.
There wouldn't be enough
I'll
room
show
to do that.
Yeah, it would be tough without
It
taking.
would be
taking
very
space
tough
from the
in
common.
that
Well,
respect.
that's why I wanted to see what they were talking about. I'll show you the email I sent them. Okay.
No, this is really to move these stop bars down.
Yeah.
So that the trucks have plenty of room to be able to make turns. Adding signs to say stop here on red and no turn on red, which I see people do all the time. And then I see blue lights, so at least we have somebody coming to, I see that a lot on that. But what you're talking about, Teresa, I believe, I want to say 2 years ago, if I remember correctly.
There's been a private citizen, he's coming to talk to me about it twice.
Yeah.
The private citizen who's looking for.
Yeah, it was a private
Okay,
citizen and
maybe
it was
that's what
just a
they, maybe
rendition.
they just took it in to look at it and maybe they've mentioned it casually. But no, I have no problem with this plan.
Okay.
No.
What do you think, Joe?
I'm good.
You're good?
Yeah, I mean, I will say the board already did provide initial comments to the draft, so, you know, they were provided prior to the finalizing
Okay,
of the document.
so I'm good to go. We don't need to do anything because we already voted on it, right?
Right,
So
I don't think so.
we're good to go.
We're just reviewing it.
Yeah. I think it's, again,
I mean, it
like
gets
to see
jammed up.
down the other end.
Intersection gets jammed. Yeah, it'd be nice to do the high school area. That's where we really need it.
That's where
If
we're.
there's any way we could convince them,
That's our next ask.
Yeah.
Yeah, it really is. That's a real problem down there.
So Jess already, I think, submitted that request. Jess Consalvo already submitted the request to do that section.
And I've had entertained some conversations with other towns in regards to that as well.
Yeah, that's a volume.
So
That's a
a
problem.
work in progress.
That's all we can do.
Okay, 4.5, discuss webmaster role, potential vendor. Eric, it's all up to you here.
Yes, so as the members of the board know, Harrison had to give us his notice and he's no longer our webmaster as of the 9th. However, and so we posted for the job prior to his leaving. We've gotten some resumes for people who are looking to be individually become the webmaster for town. We've also gotten a couple, including one that was included in, I believe, in the packet, a couple of vendors who were interested to know whether or not the town would entertain, as opposed to hiring an individual, hiring a vendor to do the webmaster duties. And so I wanted to basically talk to the board about that. There's also the question about whether or not we could look at someone to help us in the interim with the Civic Plus website that's going away, but it's still kind of the one that's public facing right now, while the new webmaster was looking towards the new revised website they're going to be rolling out soon. And whether it made sense to have someone come in and help us out with that.
Have you got any cost to hire a company to come in?
Yeah, I mean, the cost for the vendor was substantially similar to what we budgeted for a person in that role.
Are we going with what's in this quote here for MetroGo?
That MetroGov quote, yes.
$515 per month for 6 hours per week? That seems high for what we're.
That's what we were paying.
For 6 hours?
That's what we had budgeted
What were we paying?
for. Yeah, so I mean, that's what, it's 6 hours a week, $515 a month. And it comes down to, that's $19 an hour, which is what we were.
Okay, yeah,
It's
I
what
see
we,
that, yeah.
it's what we had, that's the salary, that's the hourly rate we were paying the webmaster before.
Okay,
So it's, it's substantially identical in scope to what we were already paying the webmaster. It was just before with a vendor as opposed to an individual. And so we would have a vendor contract with them as opposed to
What's gonna be our best way to handle this? So we have long-term stability with the webmaster.
well, I mean, that's one of the benefits of a vendor is, hopefully they're not gonna look for greener pastures. Because we can only offer a webmaster if it's an individual, 6 to 7 hours a week. It's never going to be something that somebody's going to have as a full-time job. It's always going to be kind of a side gig or a side hustle for someone whose full-time job is elsewhere. And that runs us the risk of being the thing that gets cut when they run out of time for things. That's what part-time gigs end up being, right? Unless you have a specific reason why all you're looking for is part-time, part-time jobs are sometimes more transitory than full-time jobs, in my experience.
Yeah. And then the knowledge base of having somebody for that short period of time is we're not getting qualified people to be able to do
well,
that.
we are getting the same qualified. This is Harrison.
No, we're talking about if it was a person applying for the job as opposed to a vendor.
Right, but the vendor is Harrison.
The vendor would be qualified, yes.
It isn't Harrison, we're not hiring Harrison. He's already gone.
Yeah, he's a
Well, that's his-
principal employee
That's
at this
that's
company.
his firm.
That's his firm.
So Harrison.
So he's not so if you look at the quote.
I thought he went on to another town working.
Yeah, he has a full-time job as.
And this is his side gig.
And that's this is a business that he started that's been up and running for.
So I don't know if Robert is maybe a father or a relative.
I don't know
or whatever.
the relationship.
But Harrison is one of the principal's employees, so it's somebody who's familiar with us.
But if it was a conflict, the way I understood it, him doing what he was doing here and there,
Because he
how
was
is
an
this,
employee.
okay, how is this any different?
Because he's a
He's a
vendor.
vendor.
Now he's a vendor.
I think it's a good thing.
I mean, I will say, this has been specifically vetted by the State Ethics Commission because he asked.
Good. All right. No, I mean, he's done a great job.
Yeah.
I mean, I have no issue with that whatsoever.
I have no issues because I also checked it to make sure that there was no ethics.
Yeah, and that was
Yeah,
the
we
reason
do
why he
have
had to
that
leave is because as an employee, he had an ethics conflict. But if he's operating a side business, then we're hiring him as a vendor.
So this is a new
Business
side
is a
business just starting.
Yes, and what I will say that there's a couple of more pluses on this besides his familiarity. There is the other person that's involved with this company is a web person and very familiar with the new platform that we're going to. So there's two things that I wanted to make the board aware of. Number one is that transition is going to be happening relatively soon. But I would rather the new vendor, if we decide to go this route, to focus on the new platform and just carry on with somebody that would be willing to step in just for a brief amount of time to keep Civic Plus running, so that they're only focusing on the new platform and not on both of them.
Yeah,
No,
good idea.
There is going to be overlap because part of what the webmasters kind of responsibilities for is being make sure that the migration from the old to the new is done successfully.
Right.
But if we had a person, I mean, and this is kind of up to the board, if we had a person who was worrying about maintaining Civic Plus, then that would be something to be off of the scope of the vendor. They could make sure the migration was happening correctly, but they wouldn't be the person that would be emailing to update,
Right.
new job postings or anything until the new website's up. And once the new website's up, it would all go to the vendor.
Yeah, like I said, I have no problem. I just didn't realize the rate we were paying. So it seemed to me that it was a significant increase.
So, I mean,
Okay.
$19 is
We were,
I still think you can get chicken nuggets for $1.99, so I just found out they're like $6.99. I was
Yeah.
like in shock.
19 feels like a lot until you drive back to McDonald's and they're advertising $17.50 to be a McDonald's worker, and you're like, we're getting a webmaster for 19. McDonald's is paying $17.50. So it is. I hear exactly what you're saying, but this is
But
not.
that is similar to what Harrison was making as
Yes.
as a private employee.
Yes.
Now, his corporation with 3 employees. Okay.
So who, if we vote to move forward, have to vote on this, right? And who do we have, or who can we get to be that fill-in person on
Well,
the Civic Plus?
the person that I would push for would, and her iPad's still up there, is Veronica, because Veronica
Okay,
was when pre-Harrison,
she initiated.
Veronica was the person who was overlooking, if she's willing to do it.
Yeah.
And she and I talked about it, quite frankly, she and I talked about whether or not she wanted to be the webmaster. And I don't think she was interested in that role, but if we could convince her to come on board to help us just by maintaining Civic Plus. She does have the experience because she was doing that before Harrison got the webmaster.
So that would mean updating the notices in front and all of that kind of stuff, making just the general stuff to keep Civic Plus
Plus
running before we transition over to the new platform.
I'm good with that. Is she interested? Hey, Veronica.
I think she left it on, but she's not there.
Veronica.
You know, so that would be, I think that would be a good way to set it up if this is something we can convince Veronica to do. If not, then I think if she's not interested, I don't know anybody else who has that experience. The only reason I was thinking Veronica is she's got that experience in Civic Plus because she did it. If she's not interested, then I think we just put it on the vendor and say, we're going to do both.
The switch is going to be a little longer. It's going to bring, because they're, with the hours that they're limited on, they're not going to be able to focus just on the Revive thing. So
let's move forward.
Well, if the board is allowing me, I will have a conversation with Veronica and I'll see what I can do to
Do
get
we
that
need to
covered.
vote?
Yeah, and I think we would probably need a vote for the board to move forward with trying to engage the vendor in the contract that is part of the shared one. So if that's.
So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any further discussion? All those in favor?
She saying was, yes.
Joe Shank, yes.
Chad Sexton and Rainey, yes. So thank you. I think that's a very economical and a wise decision we just made. 4.6, this also is up to you, Eric. Are these all the ones that we need to do?
Yeah, these are the ones that we're gonna go forward with right now, and I'm still doing investigation, but so the reason why this has come up is because it came to my attention that there's several positions in town where we have the potential of having some conflicts because of overlaps between people who are working in who have one relationship with the town and are working in a second relationship with the town. So for instance, I know that there are a couple of police officers who are also, on-call paramedics. It does not appear, based on the research that I was able to do and talk to the clerk about, that any of these positions have in the past been made special municipal employees. And so I believe that they should be. And I'll go through them one at a time. There are several different, so the planning board members are special municipal employees in Townsend, but the zoning board, conservation commission, board of health, and board of water commissioners are not. And that to me seems like a disconnect. And so that's why those 4 boards are on there, because in a small town like Townsend, we may be in a situation where there's a resident who wants to be on those boards, but also has some other relationship with the town. And I think we want that person to serve if they want to serve on those boards. So making it a special municipal employee it lowers the threshold for conflict of interest as a special municipal employee.
Well, and this kind of falls in line with where we have all been. We would rather err on the side of caution than not. So I think this is probably the best way for us to do it.
And so that's the reasoning behind those four boards. The on-call firefighter, on-call EMT, on-call paramedic, per diem firefighter, per diem EMT, and per diem paramedic are the non-full-time employees of the fire department that, that could be basically anybody. There are people who want to do that for the town, and they may have either some other relationship of employment with the town or some other relationship with the town where they're a vendor or they're a contractor or doing some other business with the town. And so by making some special municipal employees, it will allow those relationships to exist as long as it's not specifically dealing with their job as a firefighter. So I think that makes sense. The webmaster, I wanted to do it. It's just as a matter of caution, because it's such a small time constraint position. If we weren't going to be going with a vendor, we want to have the opportunity of a webmaster who was also working in Groton and also working in Pepperell, but that could work for Townsend. So I think doing it, we should still do it, even if we're going for the vendor. I think it just makes sense to have that, on file. And then the building commissioner, as you know, the way that we've talked about in the past, the way this is going is the potential to have this as more of a regional role. If we ever do that in a way that's a non-vendor relationship, right now we have a vendor relationship with Bob Garside, but if we were doing it in a non-vendor relationship, we would have to have that as a special municipal employee for him to be employed by another town. And so that would be, my request would be for a motion to confer special municipal employee status on the positions of Conservation Commission members, zoning board members, on-call firefighter, on-call EMT, on-call paramedic, per diem firefighter, per diem EMT, per diem paramedic, webmaster, building commissioner, board of health member, board of water commissioner member.
Any further discussion on that? So, I'll entertain a motion to make the following
Following positions, special municipal employees.
Yes, the following positions, special municipal employees: Conservation Commission members, zoning board members, on-call firefighter, on-call EMT, on-call paramedic, per diem firefighter, per diem EMT, per diem paramedic, webmaster, building commissioner, board of health members, board of water commissioners.
So moved.
Second.
Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Giselle Marsh, yes?
Joe Shank, yes.
Chaz Sexton Duranian, yes.
So thank you for that. I'll make sure that gets sent to the clerk and I'll send it up to the State Ethics Commission so they have that list.
Correct. And that way we can move on to the next one.
And if there's anything, there may be some other positions that come up, and as soon as I
Find them.
realize them, I'll put them on the agenda for a future meeting.
4.7, review proposed warrant for March 19th.
So it's in the SharePoint. The March 19th meeting is the meeting that the board had set earlier this month for the override vote. So I included the language for the override along with the amount, and for the warrant article on the override. I also sent out requests to both Neshoba Tech and North Middlesex to see if they would be willing to come and make presentations at that special town meeting. Neshoba Tech has already gotten back to me that Denise Pigeon is willing to come and make a presentation to the special town meeting. I haven't heard back from North Middlesex, but they had in the past indicated that they would be willing to. So I think we should have a warrant that has 3 articles. The first 2 are articles for presentations from Neshoba Tech and North Middlesex. And the third warrant article is the override article as presented.
So if they do the presentation and somebody comes forward and says, I want to support Neshoba Tech and I want to split out this article and I want to make a motion to separate that. They can always do that on the floor.
Yeah,
right?
they would have to, I mean, yes, they'd have to make a motion to amend the article.
Is there any advantage to us to do that before they do that?
I mean, that's a question for the board. I mean,
Well, I think we have no choice on Neshoba because we're bringing more children there. And that's
Right.
just a flat out, we have to come up with that money because we are putting those students in that school. It ain't like Neshoba is saying, hey, we just want an increase because we
yeah,
want
we
to
have
buy
20
a new
more kids,
hammer.
we have 20 more
We
kids
got
and
20
that's,
more children going from Townsend to the school, and that's our responsibility.
Yeah.
So I think it would be a great way to do it.
I just think that their presentation might be more sellable, and I think they might get more support.
But the only question would be the override, right? Because you got a number of that 1.8.
right, it would just have to be
Yeah,
two separate
I'm
articles.
just kind of
It'd be a-
throwing it out there to think about it.
Yes, and the reason why I'm pausing is because, this is such a delicate conversation. And, we as a board, are not saying we're for or against anything, and it always gets pushed on us that we're the ones that are making the decisions, which we're really not, right? I want to say that. And as far as what we're for or against, our votes are going to be just like everybody else in town meeting. It's not, it's not an individual thing. And it's not something that I'm pushing on anybody either. I have had many conversations with Eric in regards to this. As a matter of fact, we continued on talking today as well. We as a board have to come up with contingency plans, depending upon what situation that we have. This is a long-winded answer. I'm sorry, Teresa.
That's okay.
There are ways for us to be able to look at this in a more conceptual way. And yes, I believe that splitting the two so that we know exactly what we're looking at might be a better thing for us, just so that people understand what the difference is. Having said that, with the way in which I would like to see this structured, and Eric and I talked about, is that each one is going to present anyway at the town meeting. Exactly the proposal that Dr. Pigeon did with us in our meeting, but also at the breakfast that we went to. I thought it was the way she went through everything was very well done. But if you look at it, it all came down to numbers, like you said, Joe. They have more students. Actually, it was a record high for Townsend for them, which I think is great because those kids get a great education at that school.
And we need tradespersons back, and we need vocational schools to start getting more children in it, and we'll call the people out there.
And they definitely are.
Yeah,
they are.
Technically. I was gonna say one thing, which is, my only concern is, are we creating a situation where the ballot's gonna be confusing?
Yes, that's.
And can we do the ballot the way, in a separate way? Because what we're voting basically doing to do is to put something on a ballot. And then we're gonna have an election where that ballot's gonna be printed out. There's no explanation, like, at least the town meeting, there's gonna be an explanation on what they're voting on, but the ballot, there's not. And so I don't wanna set up a situation where the ballot becomes confusing and people don't know what to do.
Yeah.
And that's my concern about splitting it. The other possibility is that we roll with it in one lump sum for one try, and if for some reason it fails, we have a second town meeting and we say, okay, so we're going to split them up because you obviously didn't like the whole thing, so now we're going to split them up and see if you as a second go. I mean, but I would want to talk to Adam about the how things get on the ballot and whether or not towns generally separate things through overrides. I've never seen multiple overrides on a ballot, but he has a lot more experience with that than I would.
I would at least want to know what the split is like including Neshoba Valley Technical School, this amount, transportation, that amount, North Middle School, that amount.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely have the two numbers. So Neshoba Valley is 248,000 and,
Well, I think
and North Middlesex is.
what's transportation? I don't think people realize.
Well, it's for
how
operating
expensive
and
it is.
transportation assessments.
It's
They don't,
only
we
have-
we
they
don't
only
get
get- you
we don't get
them
a split.
Okay.
And so I have those two numbers because I got them from that. So it's, 1 point,
Yeah,
it's
well, if you could check
248,000
with
for that.
Adam, I would like to at least get his opinion, see what he thinks.
Yeah.
And they could be split, and if not, then if possible, I'd like to see at least the numbers.
Well, putting the numbers there is absolutely no brainer. I could definitely do that. And I can talk to Adam. So here's the trick. We're not going to have another meeting until this needs to get posted. So we might need to schedule another meeting, maybe even just a Zoom one, to briefly discuss the warrant sometime before the 5th. It wouldn't take very long. It would be the only thing we did that noon. We could do like a noon Zoom meeting and just to discuss it.
I'll leave it up to you as a chair. I mean, it's not that critical to me. It's something that I feel like might make a big difference.
Well, and I thought about it when I was putting it together about the idea of splitting it. It's just
I think in general, we're gonna have a hard sell because people think we're doing this, has nothing to do with
Right,
us.
and it's.
We're just trying to get a balanced budget to move forward. That's what the schools are looking for. We gotta put it in front of the town, and
Yeah.
it's their decision, not ours.
This is no different than the other situation that we had. It's not our decision, it's the town's decision, and we're presenting the facts to the town. The town is the one that's gonna make the decision, and we're gonna have to follow in.
Whatever they
in
tell us.
that. We don't have, we don't have control over it. This is what's being told by both schools as to what their budget is, and this is what we're gonna have to. Now, I can say that Eric has got a good handle on what our municipal budget is and where we're at, and we've talked about some ways that we are able to continue funding the way we're funding, but not with that amount. I mean, that's a big amount, and we're not gonna be able to do that, and we're gonna have to, if that is done without an override, that's gonna be a lot of cuts in town, a lot of
it's
cuts
not
in
even,
town.
yeah.
And it wouldn't be feasible.
I'm just saying, that number, I'm not sure how that works at all.
It couldn't work. It could not work for the town of Townsend. I mean, we would cut all our municipalities off. We'd cut the amount of services that the town provides to the residents. You think we're getting blamed now for spending their money? We cut all them services, would really be, and it's not us, it's the school. They're the ones looking for the money. We, as the board, have to make the decision to put it on and let the town vote.
That's
Simple,
where I'm at.
easy, done.
We have had the ability to speak. I mean, Eric and I have told them exactly what we have available for them. This is what we have. And the number, and I'm gonna say it again on record, but Teresa and I were at a meeting with the school board, and Teresa, you did a great job kind of saying, well, what about this? And what about this? There's a lot of things because of your expertise, kind of brought some things to light, at least for me anyway, that said, we know what we're talking about. We understand what you're going through. You need to understand our side of it. We can't really go through the cuts that I don't even know how we would even start.
Yeah, it would be brutal. So it sounds to me like what I need to do is I'm on to meet with Adam on the 27th.
Mm-hmm.
So next Tuesday, he's got office hours. I'll discuss this with Adam. And then maybe we could plan on sometime that week having a very brief meeting to finalize it. Or would you rather just say, we would like it split unless for some reason, and we only have a meeting if it's not going to be split?
I would like to have the Zoom meeting, just so that we're all on the same page. I don't know about you guys.
I'm fine
If
with
we
that.
can schedule it on
On
our
the 27th,
weekly,
8th, or 9th, one of them days, yeah.
Or we
Yeah,
can
like
do
on
it on the
Wednesday.
Wednesday at our weekly
Yeah.
discussion, I think would work.
Okay.
Because you have Tuesday with them.
Tuesday.
And Wednesday. Yeah, that's fine, I'm good.
So we'll,
Whatever
that'll
we
be
gotta
next
do.
Wednesday.
Yeah.
We'll try to schedule a meeting just to, and with, after I've met with Adam and I'll email this over to him tomorrow. And,
We have
ask
a
him
weekly
Yeah,
meeting on
that's fine.
Wednesday at 2:00, so that's what we're looking at.
And then Wednesday, we have another one, we'll be fine.
Okay, so that will be the plan for this, and I will, regardless of what happens, I'll make sure that separate numbers are laid out, and we'll set up the final warrant next Wednesday.
Almost final. All right. Now, are we all gonna be available on March 19th? Do we need to get a Zoom set up or?
I am not gonna be in town because I was on vacation because we didn't have a meeting that week for that special town meeting. So how will that work? I'll Zoom in, or I'd rather be part of it, but can we do a single Zoom?
You can't Zoom into a town meeting.
You can't Zoom in there?
No, it's not. That's not one of the things that's been opened up to remote participation. So, I mean, that's it. I just want to let you know. I mean, it's come up and we asked Adam about it and he's like, hey, you just can't do that.
I could think you can.
I will do everything in my power to try to fly back that day and then fly back out, but it's gotta be reasonable.
Makes sense.
So if worse comes to worse, if that didn't happen, still, the two board members is still fine, right?
Yeah, we have a,
Oh, yeah. I mean, it's the,
You still have.
Yeah, meeting.
Yeah, all right. All right, that's fine.
and then you can always talk with Eric and Eric can put your 2 cents worth in if that's needed.
So
I'll say
Wednesday,
from Joe Shank.
2:00 that you're getting together is the 28th.
Yeah, it doesn't have to be at 2 either. We could move it to
Right, yeah.
noon if is there a time that would work better for you than 2?
I think 2, I'm in court though, and you never know when the judge will get.
This is true.
But I think we'll be fine. My court date is 9:30.
Oh, if you're not done by 2, no, because 2 is after lunch.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah. But
There's the
this
boarding
is-
stuff and you're done by 1 and then the judge's got to go have lunch. So.
This is juvenile court with DCF, so I got 5 cases, so you never know with those.
That's fair.
Okay,
So
like
Wednesday,
2:00.
28th,
2:00 is when we.
Yeah, we'll do it at 2.
You send out the Zoom link.
Yeah, and I'll include whatever. I'll try to email everybody when I get an answer from Adam to include whatever he says makes sense.
I can call them from a car.
It should be simple, it should be easy.
Yeah, I mean, it's either going to be what we have already seen with the addition of the specific separate numbers or a split one if Adam says it's okay. So it's just, we're not going to add anything
If you're
extra.
still in court, you can always zip into one. of the
I think it will be
conference rooms,
This is how it usually goes. We'll move it to a month.
Yeah.
We'll move it to another month.
Yeah.
We'll move it to another month.
Yep.
Okay, we've been through all 5 of them.
All right,
All right.
5.0 ARPA projects. I didn't see anything that we needed to talk about.
No.
5.1 town administrator updates and reports.
So first, with regards to the special town meeting, Emmy has 3 staff available for childcare. So we can
Thank you, Emmy.
thank you, Emmy, for doing that, but we can get that out, the word out to folks. So if there are any parents who feel like they want to come and drop their kids off at childcare for this, if they feel like the override's important to them, we'll make that available.
Very good, that's nice.
That's number 1.
And that's over at the rec center.
Yes, I believe we're doing it at the rec center, yes. Number 2, I know we had discussed this. I got some what I consider to be good information from Jim. With respect to Coppersmith Way and Penny Lane, he did provide a total cost estimate for the resurfacing of Coppersmith and Penny Lane. And his total cost estimate was only $57,900, which is significantly less than I think he was worried that it was going to cost before he went out and did a final evaluation. So this is the situation where there was a performance bond of approximately $30,000 to finish up the Coppersmith Way and Ping Lane in the case the developer did not finish the road infrastructure. The developer did not finish the road infrastructure, and my understanding is, and I talked to Terry Walsh about this before she left, so that would have been May of '22. But my understanding is that the town did in fact cash in those bonds to do the work. So it would be $30,000 of work. So the question that would come up, and we don't have to make a decision about this now because it's not something that's imminent, is whether the town just does $30,000 worth of work to those roads, but then that would likely mean that they would not be up to par for being accepted ways. And there would be more work that would be a responsibility of the residents, the abutters to the road. Or do we do the $57,000 worth of work that would then allow us to accept them as public ways and start getting, Chapter 90 money for them?
I have a real issue with that, all right? I mean, I personally did the subdivision here in Townsend, strict rules, have to do bonds. And what I'm seeing is some of these subdivisions that started in the same era of when Madison Ave was built, they're all Coppersmith, the one by the sand pit. We're all under the same set of rules. We all had to put up bonds. We all had to finish things. And for me, we have so many roads in town that are in dire need that people have really been patient and good about, trying to understand, we're trying to get these roads fixed. If there's a $30,000 bond and we cashed it, shame on the board, whoever was involved or the town administrator that cashed that would help making sure it was done. But that shouldn't put the burden on the town of Townsend to finish it. Even if it's 57, put 30,000 into it. If the residents want to finish it, or they go after the builder, find him, he's got to be somewhere, and say, these are the things that we as a community have to make sure we fulfill our obligations as, I don't care, planning board, zoning board, whatever, the things are done and completed so we don't get ourselves in these kind of pickles. Sabrina has a...
Yeah, since I have a first grade knowledge in this. The builder is bankrupt. There's no money to be had.
He has assets. That's Carter Smith. Carter.
But
Bankrupt in another country.
Yeah, the builder is not the individual. The builder is the company.
The company, yeah.
And that's my understanding too, is that he's judgment proof. So, not he, the company is judgment proof. But that, regardless.
And I get it. You think we get heat for spending town money, or we spend it frivolously, whatever that word was. Reckless. How many people at town meetings have complained about the roads and roads and roads? And this year, we're finally getting a little bit of help from the state in different ways. There are serious roads that need to be done. I get it that that's not finished over there. However, that should not be a priority of two dead-end roads that are dead end versus the main roads that people drive on every day that are just beating the heck out of all their cars. I have no issue if we have to put 30,000. If we cash that bond, shame on us, first of all, but put the 30,000 in and say residents over there, we'll be happy to help you. You guys all want to pool up another 20 grand or whatever, we'll finish it.
When was that cashed in?
My memory says 2017, but that again, it was almost 2 years ago that I talked to Terry about it, and I asked last week through the accountant office to do a little digging, try to get the information again about when it was cashed in.
There is such a can to be opened here. we say we're gonna top coat that, okay? And then we're gonna accept it as a town road. Well, what about the infrastructure of all the drainage and everything? You know, that's just there. They get there, so well, now we gotta start working all the culverts and the drainages. You know, I mean,
This doesn't include, just so you know, the quote includes catch basin rebuild, catch basin adjustment, and water gate adjustments. They're included in the quote.
okay,
So that's why I won. But, so I understand the other possibility is that it may be possible for the residents to get a private company to do it cheaper than we can. I don't know.
then we got 30,000 we'll put into it.
I don't know.
I don't know what you're feeling now, but I mean, I hear it, and I'm sure we all hear it. You know, the road's bad, and we've been struggling to do the best we can, and Jimmy with the highway department has been doing one heck of a job with the money he's had. I don't want to be disrespectful to anyone that lives there. I mean, I understand, but we also have to look at the big picture of the town. No,
I'll speak one more time. The problem is though too, if we keep on longer and not repairing that, that will create an issue down the road because it's deteriorating. Because there is traffic on there and overgrowth and whatnot. So it's not being maintained right now and it was never finished. So if it keeps going like that, it'll just be a hazard down the road, on the road.
I get it. I mean, I'm only one vote. You guys can vote however you want, but I have sympathy for all those people that live there, you know, and that's one of the big downfalls when people come into this community and they build all these little subdivisions and they don't finish them. And we as a town, we're hogtied here, you know, because unless we come up with bigger bonds or better ways to guarantee it's done, or if it isn't done, okay. Guys, you didn't finish that subdivision? We have $100,000 bond. You want to build a subdivision? Put up the bond.
Yeah, so
Don't
just
finish it.
so you know, I have been taking steps to try to make sure it's not gonna happen again. So we're gonna be withholding occupancy permits for final lots and not releasing lots from subdivisions until the infrastructure's done. So I don't think it's gonna be a problem going forward.
Right, but in this thing, to me, we took a check and wrote paid in full. We wrote that it was done. How many years ago, whenever that happened, we said $30,000 and it was done. And, you know, if it now costs $50,000 to do that, we took that on by cashing that check. And, you know, that's a shame on us. But I don't think we can walk away from our responsibility because we put it on ourselves. That's how I see it.
Well, again, I believe that we as a board are put in a situation to take care of something that should have been taken care of in the past. And that's what I'm hearing from you, and that's what I'm hearing from you as well. I agree with the both of you that this whole situation is unfortunate, and there were things that should have happened back in 2017 or 18 that should have been happening. To be fair, I don't think that I don't think it's right for us to kind of turn our back on it. I don't agree with what the past executive boards had made a decision on, but I also feel that we need to make this whole with the people that are living on the road that just never was completed. Is it the town's responsibility unfortunately, when they cashed that check in 2017, they said, yes, we are responsible for it. And I agree. I agree with Teresa saying that. Having said that, I think we should move forward to do what we need to do. If they can find somebody to do the work, is one thing, but I just think we need to get it done and put it.
And I agree with both of you, and trust me, I mean, I'm here to support, you know, the right thing, and the right thing, as you said, Teresa, is absolutely spend the money, do what we gotta do, I get that. But I'm just concerned on the repercussions down the road, that what's gonna be the next one we have.
Well, and this is where I will say, and I'll step out on the gangplank or whatever that's called on the pirate ship, that I believe that our town administrator has our back in that respect. There are several things that he's been doing that is keeping an eye out on the errors of the past and to make sure that we're not gonna be making those again.
And maybe you have to put something together through the board that maybe we really have to look at this bonding, how we're bonding, what is, you know what I mean?
No, it's definitely something that I've already talked to Jess and her staff about it, and we met with Jimmy and had a conversation about it. To
And
make sure
that's fine, I
it's
mean,
already happened, so I just wanted you to know, like, we're trying to, you know, nip that in the bud.
because there are stuff coming down the pike.
And, you know, I'm gonna have the land use department kind of look at any outstanding open subdivisions and make sure we're communicating appropriately with the building department, so that we're locking them in before they get all their money out of that subdivision, because that's really the key.
Yeah, that's
You as a
it.
builder know.
Yeah, I know.
If somebody comes in and says, you can't have those last 2 lots, this road's done, you're gonna get the road done, because the last 2 lots are where you're making your money.
Well, I get it, I do, and I'm supportive, I mean, I feel bad for them people, but I just wanted my point that it's not really our fault, our responsibility, but if that's what we need to do, it's 20-some thousand. If Jimmy's getting that done for, I honestly thought it'd be 125,000, and if it was 125, I'd sit here till I was blue in the face, I wouldn't spend that
And it's a
money.
very different conversation. We are in a year where it just so happens that we set aside 150,000 of just town money for paving.
Yeah.
And we got an extra $240,000 in state money for paving. So,
And plus the chapter 9.
well, that was the extra, the
Yeah,
240,000 extra chapter 90 money, plus our original chapter
That's
90
what I
allowance.
mean,
Yeah,
yeah.
so,
Plus that 30,0nd's gotta go back to the.
Yeah, but-
real.
but you know,
From
in any other year,
2017.
if we didn't have town money, we probably couldn't do this.
Yes.
Because we can't spend chapter 90 money on stuff that's not accepted roads.
Yeah.
But we have town money this year to do it. So if we don't do something this year, we're probably kicking the can forever.
Oh,
you know?
God, that'd be,
Well,
it would never get done.
And I'm just, I think we need just to get
Get it
this
done.
taken care of,
Do
please.
we
I
need to
agree.
make a vote? Or just,
No, I think what we'll do is, I hear the sentiments of the board. Jimmy's gonna come in with a full paving plan that talks about all of the roads he's gonna pave, and we'll just include that as part of it. And that'll be a presentation.
you know, and I hope the people that are there understand that, you know, we're not, at least I'm not, trying to just hang them out to the wolves, but, you know, we gotta make the right decisions for the community.
Well, we've made, we as a board have made some
Big
very
decisions.
difficult decisions, and this is one of them.
Yeah.
We just need to continue on
You're
moving
gonna go
forward.
over useful life,
Use of life is my next thing.
because I need help with that.
So this is something, the next thing I wanted to bring up to the board is a vote that is required by our borrowing agency from the Board of Selectmen to set the maximum useful life of capital equipment that we are borrowing funding for. So I think everybody got the document, the vote of the Board of Selectmen as to useful life. We did this last year as part of the capital plan when we were setting the useful life for the fire truck. It's just something we have to do before borrowing whenever borrowing is done. But you're not allowed to borrow for terms more than the useful life of the item.
So have you got from the fire department, the highway superintendent, what the use of life for those people?
Yeah, we
are?
sat down, and most of this stuff is things that we've said in the past for several of these items, and so I think my suggestion would be that we set the useful life of the ambulance at 10 years, and we borrow it over 7 or 10.
Is an ambulance 10 years really?
I mean, it's more than that.
Yeah.
But the key is that we're setting the useful life, and it has to be greater than or equal to the amount that we're going to borrow. And I wouldn't suggest we spread the borrowing for the ambulance over more than 10 years.
All right.
Engine 3, I think we would be setting that at the useful life of 20 years.
That's an average. Yeah.
And then we would borrow that over 15, but I mean, we don't have to set the borrowing amount, but we'd borrow that over 15. The F-350 pickup truck with the plow, we would set that at 10 years.
Mm-hmm.
The culvert inspection camera, we would set that at 10 years. The 10-foot wing plow, we would set that at 10 years. The crew cab full-size pickup truck, we would set that at 10 years. And the flammable storage cabinet, we would also set at 10 years. Now, I wouldn't anticipate borrowing for 10 years for all of those items. We could
Okay.
probably have some of them that's much shorter.
Especially
Yeah, the $2,500 cabinet.
Yeah.
It's gonna be $20 a year for the next 100 years.
15 cents a month.
And so the ambulance and the engine are the two that would have the longer life expectancy, or the engine would have the longer life expectancy, and the remainder we would set at 10 years, and then we would do our borrowing
Mm-hmm.
such that it would be equal to or less than.
I'm good.
And so, I'm just gonna say the vote out loud, if that's okay,
Mhm.
Mr. Chair.
Mhm.
So we would be looking for a vote that the maximum useful life of the department equipment listed below be financed with proceeds of the $1,332,465 borrowing authorized by the vote of the town passed May 2nd, 2023, Article 11, is hereby determined pursuant to General Laws, Chapter 44, Section 7, subsection 1, to be as follows. Ambulance 1, 10 years. Engine 3, 20 years. F-350 pickup truck with plow, 10 years. Culvert inspection camera, 10 years. 10-foot wing plow, 10 years. Crew cab full-size pickup truck, 10 years. Flammable storage cabinet, 10 years.
So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Tracy Morris, yes?
Joe Shank, yes.
Chad Sexton Iranian, yes.
And then we would need you to certify this as the
Yeah.
clerk. And this is held today, which is February 20th, right?
2/20/24.
Fill that out if you want. I believe that's all I have. No, it's not? Oh, yes.
Avoiding it, huh?
I'm trying to, yeah. So I wanted to, I think the other thing to bring up would be my evaluation and when that would be put on the agenda.
So, how was the process last year? It was given to you and then it was put on the agenda, or how did that work? Or was it given in open session? I can't remember.
It has to be done in open, my evaluation has to be done in open session.
Okay.
Typically speaking, it was discussed, or I think I discussed it with Veronica prior to it being in open session.
Okay.
And so we would just put it on the agenda for whenever the board wished, and then you and I would discuss it.
December 29th.
When's Joe gonna be out of the country again?
Yeah, I'm gonna zoom in anyway.
Yeah,
Don't worry.
So what I would like to do is I have, I did send out I compiled, the comments from everybody, and I also, tabulated what the amounts of, or the categories were. I passed it out. Teresa, did you have any revisions to that?
No, I do not.
Joe? Okay, so all we would need basically is to sign it and we can put it on the next agenda if you're okay with that. So I'm okay with that. And, if you guys don't mind, to sign the one copy that we have here, and then I can distribute it to,
Cover Joe should.
For a price, we can tell you ahead of time. We need an extra 30 grand for some paving.
right?
Take a cut in your pay.
Yeah. I'll probably just wait on it
I think you're right, yeah.
then.
Smart thinking.
Sorry.
Oh, I apologize. There's one other thing I wanted to mention, which is just a reminder that we have previously scheduled our Saturday morning budget meeting for the 9th. So that is going to be the time at which we're going to have all the board, the department heads. We'll schedule them in 3 separate groups for 9, 10, and 11. We had set up that date back when we sort of started the budget, but I just wanted to
The
remind
9th, you said?
the 9th of March.
Yes. Okay, I have it on my calendar
Yeah,
already.
we talked about, this is not the first time I've mentioned this to you, but I did want to let you know, I'm in the middle of having individual budget meetings with departments this week and then next week. So hopefully, I will have I have the asks already prepared, and hopefully I'll have the no's by the end of next week and have what will look like, kind of a first draft of the town budget to provide to the board prior to the May 5th meeting. We can discuss it at the May 5th meeting, and then we'll move the department specifically on the 9th.
Will you be able to have a Zoom meeting on the 9th?
Sure. Oh, yeah, I mean, we're going to be here in the
Because it's the month of March, I'm kinda,
the whole month.
well, don't go saying that too loud.
No, yeah, I mean, I don't think that's a problem at all. I mean,
All right.
we have the Zoom. And then, I mentioned it earlier, but there is a school committee meeting going on tonight. There may be some budget updates. And so if I hear anything different from the schools, specifically North Middlesex, about those numbers, or if they get an answer from the GIC about healthcare, which would lower it, if it's okay with the board, I will revise the numbers as it goes along before we have to post for the 19th. So if I get new numbers from North Middlesex that lower it, I will lower it.
All right.
Okay. And that was that.
Sure you're done now?
No, but I think I am.
Alrighty, reports from boards and liaisons, 5.2, general government.
Hi, it's saying we keep meeting, we have, capital planning, and, FinCom a meeting tomorrow, audit committee is also meeting tomorrow. I had, conservation coming up, Thursday, FinCom and audit and, capital a meeting. Tomorrow, we're trying to get the information that this might come to capital planning, and Eric, I might need your help with this, because I'm still a little, I think everybody is a little unclear on this. So It started with it was that quote from Rise, I think, came out with the municipal building quote. And basically somehow we missed it, but maybe there's now a way to get it into it, but we'd have to get funding for it. So they'd have to vote to approve it. Am I giving them the right vote? So if they
They'd
say
have to vote to approve that as a part of an amended capital plan.
and the amended,
And then
okay,
we
so
bring it
well,
back to the
first,
board. The board will
first the
discuss it.
Energy Committee has to vote to approve it Wednesday.
Well, the energy committee, that's more of a formality.
Well, I don't even know what it is,
I
so
could
how
just,
much it is.
I could just hand you the quote and say, can you vote
Oh,
on this
okay,
at the capital
good.
planning
So,
committee? So
yeah,
the
can I
energy
have it
committee,
then?
yeah,
Okay.
the
Okay.
last I talked to Ron, he was getting an updated quote. So I hadn't heard an updated quote.
And
but I have
they
the
don't
original.
have it as of this email, they don't have the updated quote either, but hopefully they will. But it is on Energy for tomorrow. Hopefully they'll have the approved updated quote. They were planning voting on it Wednesday, and then I was supposed to bring it to capital planning and finance on Thursday. But if they don't have it by Wednesday, we can still go to capital planning with the current quote.
Yes.
That'll be fine. Okay. Then audit, we're gonna set out a plan. We're not gonna have anybody scheduled to go through the audit for the first meeting. We're gonna set out an agenda, and then we'll put a schedule of interviews if we want to interview anybody for that, but I don't think we have any plans to interview at this.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know when we're going to get the audit from the auditors. They were here.
Well, we wanted to go over the things that they did last year and see, because there were some things that are out there, and I had talked to the treasurer and some other people, and they had an action plan in place, so I want to see what they did with the last audit too, kind of follow up on that. And then, of course, this year, so. That's it.
Elected boards. It's nice to see you involved, Teresa.
Doing my best.
I know.
Had that surgery, and I'm just
There you go.
going.
Yeah.
Meetings every night.
Well, welcome to my world. So I have, I guess the big news of the day, if you want to call it big news of the day, is our big vessels for the new treatment plant were delivered today, and the other vessels are being delivered tomorrow. These are, Dave was sending me pictures all day today.
Me too. Very large.
Yes.
On the back of a tractor trailer, they're very large.
I don't know how they
Containers.
got those up on the roads to get here. I have no idea how they did it.
Yeah, very large containers.
Yeah, but it's really nice to see that coming together. That was the talk of the town, I guess. There's been some other issues that I've really looked into in regards to other areas. I've been on the phone a lot last week in regards to just some policies and protocols. What's the best way to do things? And the volunteers that we have on some of our boards and committees, I just want to commend, because there's a lot of work going on now. It's just some really great collaboration. Things are getting done, and it's really exciting to see. And I am finding that the more we do, the more we find that we need to do, which I guess is true in any respect. But I guess that's all I have for mine. Public safety.
Public safety, talked with the fire department. They have a soft, per se, initial of the heavy rescue. They actually had to use that, believe it or not, in Ashby yesterday. So that is out and it is usable, so that's kind of good. Police department, I did have a little conversation, nothing big there, it's changed from the last meeting. Things are running smooth. He's still got the people out there waiting to come on, the 2 applicants. I met with the new building commissioner today, had a long conversation with him. I think things will go really smooth. He's looking forward to moving it forward. He asked me one question, if I bring it up, and I don't even know how we would address it, but he's just curious as why we do not do online permitting for plumbing and electrical. And, I'm like, I don't have that answer, but I'm gonna bring it to the board and we're gonna put that in Eric's hands.
I can tell you why it wasn't rolled out initially, which is because unlike building permits, the plumbing and electrical code specifically state that they're allowed to submit them by mail. They don't have to go online and do them. And so most of the plumbers and electricians around here have told Janet, yeah, oh yeah, we're just gonna keep submitting it by mail.
And that's why he just asked me to ask, and so you can just relay it.
Yeah, and so
relay that right down
he and I
there.
have talked about it, and I
Yeah.
think we're gonna try to start pushing them. But the reason why it wasn't a primary concern is because the plumbers and the electricians have gotten into their codes written in that they're allowed to do things a different way. Like electricians are allowed to submit their permits after they've done the work. These codes are kind of odd that way. But yeah, we're gonna start working on
Okay,
pushing who we can, because even if we get a portion of them done online, it'll be, I think, a more efficient way
and
to do
if
it.
my numbers were correct, he said when he started, they had like roughly 20 permits kind of in a limbo. Right now, he's done, I think, 13 of them up and out now, and he's got 7 more he's working on. So it sounds really good. Sounds like Janet and him are working to get the things done, and that's all we can ask.
Yep.
Good. 5.3 announcements. I'll let you go first, Joe, because you've been chomping at the bit here.
No, just one announcement. We've kind of said it, I think everybody in the community knows. We've lost a great man from town. Al Stone passed away back in December. They're having a celebration of life, March 24th at 1 PM at the Groton Hill Music Center. Everybody is welcome and invited. It would be nice to see, a great showing from our community. I think everyone realizes and knows what this man has done and what he's donated to the community. I personally like to see if we as boards, select board, police department, fire department, have some representation there, so we know who's going. They have on his website, we can send flowers. I know the board can't send flowers. They also just put up something today, instead of flowers, little flowers to one of his charitable, donation can go to one of his charitable things that he's been working on. So I'm gonna look at that a little bit. I'm going to personally do it, and I'll send it as the board, and if anybody that wants to donate a little bit into it, that's fine. But it's something I think we as a board should look at.
And so you said that's March 24th, 1:00 PM at the Groton
Music.
Hill Music Center, yeah. First come, first served, public's invited. There's no assigned seating, no nothing, just, and I think we've lost a great man out of this community. But he has his family still running Sterilite, and they will follow his footsteps, I'm sure. That's it.
The next is, thank you, Joe. The next is ZBA notice of decisions on 355 Main Street, 99 Clement Road, and 23 Shirley Road. I think were these all accessory apartments? I think they were. Yes, they were all renewal of accessory apartments for a residential district. And that was a decision they all passed. And we are still seeking qualified candidates for constables. We have 1 constable, we need 2 more. And I will say that there are several seats available on several different boards and committees. So if you have a free couple of hours during each month and you want to get involved in some town, helping out the town, I think that would be good as well. Teresa, do you have anything?
Yeah, just what, to be a constable requires a license and fee, which, considering how much you make as a constable, is quite absorbent. I think it's well over, do you know the fee offhand? It's like
Do you remember what it is, Sabrina?
185.
Was that Megan?
No, what
No, the fee to be
is?
a constable is.
I think it was 150, that was more for the Cory check and the beach check.
Like, I think it comes out like close to 185, the initial one, and then like 150 every year. So I'm wondering, I know we're absorbent with our spending, but if we do new constables, you
It's
know.
not exorbitant.
Yeah,
I can't remember the word now.
Reckless.
Reckless with that spending.
Reckless.
But, you know, it's hard for somebody to come back year and year and know they don't even get their license and be back, you know.
So I wasn't aware of that. So it's, see, they have to do a query in the background.
That's
Right?
part of our policy.
Right.
And then they have to get a fee.
There's a fee with that because we require the fee to be paid. So it's in our policy to cover that fee.
It is not covered. They have to pay out of pocket. And like I said, I know for sure it's over 100 something, like 125, 100.
So for all of this, it's more than what they're getting paid.
Yes.
That's a good job.
That's, how about if we put that
On the
into something
agenda.
that we need to look at?
Yeah,
Yeah,
get some numbers, we should look at that.
yeah, we can look at it. We can see what
We
they
can
do in other
track somebody
towns.
if we say, hey, we're gonna pay that.
We need to look at that.
Yeah, we'll take a look at it. We'll come back with it.
I figured you just didn't know. So.
I think that's all that we have for announcements, right?
Mm-hmm.
5.4, next meeting is Tuesday, March 5th.
Actually, the
And
next meeting is
March
Wednesday.
Wednesday, oh, that's right. now
February
that we
28th.
decided.
Wednesday, 28th.
February 28th
At 2 p.m.
at 2 p.m. We'll post for that. And I'll entertain a motion to review and sign payroll and bills payable warrants out of session.
They're not here yet, but
So moved.
second,
Moved and seconded. Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Tuesday, March, yes?
Joe Shank, yes.
That's Iranian, yes. All right, so now entertain a motion to enter into executive session pursuant to General Law, Chapter 30A, Section 21A3, to discuss strategy with respect to litigation. If an open meeting may have a detrimental effect on the litigating position of the public body, and the chair so declares, which the chair does declare, and we will adjourn from executive session.
So moved.
Second,
Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Tuesday, March, yes?
Joe Shank, yes.
Chad Sexton, Iranian, yes. Thank you, everybody.